Many feeder pans are designed to both start chicks as well as transition to feeding throughout the broiler flock. Today we're going to be looking at a broiler pan that is made by Valco. This is the Fuze pan. We'll start by looking at the components. The first component is the pan. They're available in both 13 and 14-inch diameters, and also in standard and shallow depths. The most commonly used one is the 14-inch diameter and the standard depth. The standard depth is made to nestle down into soft litter, whereas the shallow pan would be made for harder litter or a concrete floor. And that, if you had a hard concrete floor or not much litter, it would allow the chicks to get into the pan, into the feed more easily. The second component is the grill, and these of course match the diameter of the pan that's chosen. And then in the 14-inch model, they're available in both 14-spoke and 5-spoke. The 5-spoke is usually used for pullets or for turkey poults, whereas the 14-spoke would be more commonly used for broiler feeding. Next component is the collar, and it's adjustable. We'll talk about that a little bit more later, but the collar joins the grill and pan to the tower. The next component is the tower, and that can come in either one piece or two pieces. The one piece is often used on original installations because that can slide on the line very quickly, whereas the two piece can be disassembled by sliding a cap out of the tower and removing the feeder from the feed line. And of course it can be reassembled as well. Another feature that can come on the tower is a shutoff. Some models might have a slide shutoff so that feeders that are not in the brood area can be turned off. When chicks are placed, it's very important that they get feed and water in plentiful amounts in the first 24 hours. So many times feed is placed in trays or on paper or in special chick feeders, as well as putting the broiler feeder into a flood stage. And in normal operation, the pan and the feeder is suspended from the line, whereas in flood, when you start chicks, you lower the feed line onto the floor, and that lowers the tower inside the pan. And what that does is open up these flood openings in the tower so that much of the feeder pan fills with feed and gives easy access to the feed for chicks. Over those first few days, if you have placed chick feeders or trays near the water to introduce the chicks to feed, you'd want to move them a little bit closer to the regular feed line over the course of the first few days. The chicks will learn to come to the broiler pan feeder to get feed because it's in flood and because the feed depth is so deep in the pan. After a week or two, it depends on integrator recommendations or breeder company recommendations, you would lift the pan out of flood, and when the feed line is lifted, those flood windows in the tower close, and at that point, feed it enters the pan underneath the tower. There's a gap between the bottom of the tower and the feed pan, and the size of that gap determines how much feed will be in the pan. Many growers set the pan to a setting of 3 or 4 on this Fuze feeder. There's 7 settings, and they're easily adjustable by turning the collar relative to the grill. There's numbers embossed into the collar that show what the setting is, and it's a compromise between easy access to feed, which would be a higher setting, and trying to limit the amount of feed waste, which would be a lower setting. So as I said, many growers leave it on either 3 or 4 throughout the flock, or you can start it at a higher setting when the chicks are young and then lower it as they grow older, probably not going below setting of 3. There's a couple features to look for in a pan feeder such as this. One would be a feed saver lip underneath the grill, that there's a return on the grill so that as the birds flick the feed with their beaks, it doesn't come out of the pan. These rakes on the tower, anti-raking fins, also help to prevent feed waste. You want to have those flood openings in the tower 360 degrees around so that feed floods into the tower in all directions, not just on one side of the pan. And of course, you'd like to have an easy adjustment for the depth of the feed in the pan. If you properly manage the pan settings, as well as when you move in and out of flood, you can be very successful in starting chicks and transitioning them to broilers with a pan such as this.